This week's channel message from the angels is acknowledging that we are on the brink of some major transformative events, massive change that is already begun and that is going to be expanding on the planet. And they are saying that some of this change may come home to roost, that we may feel that some of the plans that we have made for ourselves are interrupted. They're calling it a period of interruption. And that we feel like maybe the ideas we had or the goals that we had can't come into fruition the way we wanted. And they're asking us to not be caught by surprise, to stay in our heart space, to recognize that we are still creating into an even better, more supportive energy that's coming to help us. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. For those of you who are new, my name is Ann Tucker. I'm a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm, and I do that by raising my awareness as high as I can go. And then I go a little higher, I connect, the angels come through, and I share that message, those messages and healing with you guys here on YouTube. So as I was saying, this message, I was first going to call this message, Don't Freak Out. That was my first title, and then I changed it. But it really is that. It's telling us like, yep, things are changing. The change is on its way, but it's really a message of hope. And they started that way. They say, this is, we're bringing you a message of, is it hope? They're saying, yeah, of hope for your journey. It's a beautiful, beautiful message, and it's meant to be inspiring, but it's also meant to tell us to anticipate that we could face disappointment, we could face loss, and to not let that work against us, to not let this don't let that pull us into fear, to recognize that everything we want to create for ourselves in this life is more than possible in the new energies we're moving into. So I want to let you guys know, if any of you happen to be in Los Angeles and would like to join me for an in-person event on 11/11, information about that is down in the description box below. And I hope you enjoy the message. Beings of light, we are bringing a message of hope for your journey. Onward from here, troubling times interrupt your forethought, and the journey feels ended. It is not, however. The instantiation of now is everlasting. It is incorporating the self eternally into the experience of what is. You are making assumptions about what will come in the here and now and what is after. We say there are for some the interruptive service that waylays your expectations. We wish not to surprise yourselves. Glean from what we say the counsel we advise, to stay within your hearts without interruption, to not lean into the ever-present fear amongst yourselves, to stay cognizant of the reality of what is on the sunrise, of what is becoming, to be aware of the unfolding of the now into a reality that benefits yourselves, to stay present to this now and ever after. And though you are and have made yourselves into a frame of reference that will change, though there are those amongst yourselves who will feel a great change has been laid, the enterprising substance of your reality will come to your aid. There will be no interruptive force that condemns you all to the interruption of the good you're here to deliver. There's no aspiration amongst yourselves that cannot be met by the new forces at play. There's nothing that cannot be done, that cannot be made, that cannot be framed in the new times coming. We say, therefore, announce yourselves into it. Breathe your word, your will into the powers of the new day, and let it come to meet you. Fear not the interruption of what will come. Fear not the new day. To sense in yourself that your dreams are waylaid, never fear. They are arriving still, only in a countenance that is differentiated. In the now existence that surrounds yourselves, there is hardship. There is energy of futility and longing. There is a sense of yourselves as always trying, unrequited by the life streaming around yourselves. And we say, in the new beginning, the times coming, the frame of reference you will bring is one of self having been met in equal power. In the times that remain, in the sense of yourselves as having risen, employ your hearts to mold the world, to conform to the ideas you wish to see. Have no fear. Be not unsettled. The changing times are coming, and change, we feel, fulfills a need within yourselves who go on wanting. There is a vision of your world which can be made, which stems from love and exchange, which stems from a compliance to the vision of yourselves unified, of one mind in the complex iteration of many beings thinking. We say we herald in this change a joyous celebration and achievement, which condemns the lives of poverty, the ways of trade which prevent your growth, the lockstep development of things not in your best interest. It allows yourselves to play a field more broad and open. It circumvents the powers that be and lets them find a passage onward, not here. The everlasting request that you would herald is to be unified as humanity, to be in peace, to lay down your arms and separation. We say we are not there, not yet. It does wait for you upon the horizon, and more war must be met before it can be acquired. More trespass must be made. More hardship must be worked through. And in the process, the expectations you have of this now may differentiate and become unviable. We say, speak not into the formation your frustration with these new endowments. Speak not into reality your condemnation of these times. Instead, speak to the north, to the endowment of trust in the Creator, to the sense of yourself as having been made on purpose, and these times which form around you to be a blessing. Know them as a compass guiding you to fulfill a purpose that will deliver humanity to its furthest grace. The time is coming, yet faster. You are nearly there. The interruption is begun, the interruption of these times. The inconsequential leanings yet remaining will be brushed aside, and you are there. And the consequential noise of this effect will pull upon you and your knowingness. Rest assured, all is well. Hold faith. Hold still in your agreement to be one who illuminates the world. Hold still in your faith in the divine energy that moves through you. Sense in yourself that though change has come, though what moves through you may be different from what was your choosing, it will become what is available, ready and delivered, and you will find within it a greater balance, and harmony is achievable. And in this space of loving frequency, all your ills will feel remedied. We say blessings upon you and all who are nearing this time of friction and freedom to the passageway through. We view before you a journey of great import for which you are equipped. We bless you. All right. So, like I said, it just feels like it's heating up, you guys. It is heating up, and they're saying like it's begun, and it is the interruption. They're calling it an interruption. So they have been telling us for a long time that we are meant to continue to invest our energy in the reality around us, right? And they've also been telling us that not every one of these things they've been describing will happen everywhere, that some of the things will happen in some place and some will happen elsewhere. But they're telling us that there will be, and what they're talking about here is they're saying that some of us will have made plans that are now interrupted. And that's why they're calling this the interruption. They're saying some of us have ideas. We have ideas of how our life is going to be, or we have plans we've been investing in, things we've been trying to build or trying to create, and they will be interrupted. And I think what they're saying here is don't feel like when that happens, don't be discouraged. Don't feel like you're not creating. Don't feel like it's not going to come true, that what you're wishing for. What they're saying is that it might show up differently because the world is growing around you and because you are growing. That continue to put forward the energy of what you want to feel, like how you want to be, as opposed to the specifics. Keep putting that energy into what is it are you investing in? Are you investing in your ability to serve? Are you investing in your ability to create a life that's fulfilling for you? Like, what are you investing in? And then they're saying that in the future, that as we move into this energy, they're saying that some of those thoughts about how you thought it might manifest might all of a sudden look impossible. And they're saying, don't condemn the situation out loud. They're saying, don't speak your frustration, your anger at what's happening. Don't make that true. They're saying instead, keep your faith that this is all on purpose, and that the energy you're putting forward, it may not show up the way you want it to, but it's going to show up in a way, they're saying, that's available, that's ready. Like basically, it's like the world shows up to meet you in a new way. And that what is manifested from the energy you are putting out there is going to end up being more balanced, more harmonious, and more fulfilling than what you originally intended. So that's the message. They're saying, don't lose faith. And they're saying a big one here is stay in our heart. Right? Don't be scared. Don't go into the fear. Stay in the heart. So if you feel yourself heading to fear, right back into the heart. Like hold your faith. They're saying hold your faith that everything's going to work out. Hold your faith that you are here to hold the light. They're saying that, and it's just a beautiful message. Beautiful message again. And it's wrapped up in this idea that we are right on the precipice of major, major events. Yeah. Not that it hasn't been major events, right? We've been in major events, but here's more major events. And welcome to those of you who are just joining in. So it's great. Some of you came in here since I started. So great to see you guys. Hello, Teresa, Mike, Mary, and Martha. I see you guys. Good morning. And I saw Jonathan too. Great to see you. So all right. Joshua. Hello, Joshua. Great to see you. So let's go ahead and break this down if you guys are ready. They are saying, the first sentence here, first paragraph, they're saying, beings of light, we are bringing a message of hope for your journey. So they're trying to set it right off the bat. This is not a message to inspire fear, because they're talking about major change, and change makes us freak out. Change scares us. So they're saying, number one, right off the bat, this is a message of hope, right? This is a message to inspire hope inside of us. That's the goal. But then they go right into it. They say, onward from here, troubling times interrupt your forethought, and the journey feels ended. So this is, they're really naming it. They're being very open, very clear with us, very transparent. They're saying this is what we may be feeling. And forethought is, so if you look up forethought, it means the careful consideration of what will be necessary or what may happen in the future. So these are the ways in which we have been in our mind thinking about our plans, making our plans. And when our plans seem to be like all of a sudden the things that we think we were building, when all of a sudden they feel ended, you know what that feels like. You know the energy that brings into the body and how that can just lower your frequency. So they're trying to bring our awareness to this possibility now so that if and when it happens, we process it differently, that we don't perceive this as being shut down. We don't perceive this as an ending. We perceive it as a beginning. So yeah, and then they go on to say, and the journey feels ended. It is not, however, so they're trying to be very clear, it is not ended. The instantiation of now, this is a profound sentence, the instantiation of now is everlasting. It is incorporating the self eternally into the experience of what is. So they're saying here that reality will be continuing to rise and meet you exactly where you are right now. And this is what they're trying to get us to. They're trying to get us to the space of living in the present moment where we are riding the wave, living a dharmic existence, living in the now, creating from the now with the person that we are today, not creating from who we were several months ago when we made those plans. And this was like the whole subject of last week's message was like, we don't want to live with that idea about sending ourselves an envelope of ourselves from the past to the future. Like we're always living, like opening up that envelope and we're living ourselves several months ago or even several years ago, depending on how long ago we made those plans, right? And that this is taking that and bringing it, making it that much more important because of the fact that they're saying we are upon a change, upon a major change. And they're trying to give us the tools and the understanding of what it is to really live into that, to ride that wave, live in the now, be on the dharmic path, means that it is incorporating that the right now is incorporating you eternally into the experience of what is. So the creative essence is happening right this minute all around you. And they want us to work with that as opposed to our forethought. Yeah. All right, they go on to say, you are making assumptions about what will come in the here and now, what will and what is after. We say there are, for some, the interruptive service that waylays your expectations. They're trying to be very clear. They're saying it will happen to some of you, some of us, some of all of us. There will be the feeling that our plans have been crushed, And that's a hard word, right? Like, because there's things that where you invested yourself, invested your heart, there may feel like things are not the way I expected. And that can be really, really hard. And so that we've been making assumptions about this, and they call it an interruptive service right here. And I think it is important, their choice of words, because they're always trying to express that this is for our greatest and highest good, that it is of service. It is an interruptive service. So even though it doesn't feel like it at the time, that it will help us in the long run. They go on to say, we wish not to surprise yourselves. Right? So this is why are they telling us this now? Because they do not want us to be caught flat-footed, right? They want us to have it come, have it happen, and have us be like, okay, it's all right. I knew this might happen. I'm going to be all right. So we wish not to surprise yourselves. Glean from what we say, the counsel we advise. And here it is. Here's their counsel. To stay within your hearts without interruption. To not lean into the ever-present fear among yourselves, right? So it's going to be so present around us when a major event occurs, that fear is going to be all around us. And they're going to be asking us to say, okay, recognize the fear is there. Recognize that even if everyone around you is freaking out, they're saying, look at that and say, I know what this is. They told me this was going to happen. All right, I'm not surprised. I'm not going to be pulled into that fear. I'm going to just go back into my heart. I'm going to go back and I'm going to feel my own understanding, my own faith in my journey. And I'm going to recognize this for what it is, as a interruptive service is what this is, right? So then they say to not lean into that ever-present fear amongst yourself, to stay cognizant of the reality of what is on the sunrise. So they're saying this is, and they're calling it to be aware of the reality. They're saying this is not a maybe or a possibility. It's the reality of what's on the sunrise, of what is becoming. To be aware of the unfolding of the now into a reality that benefits yourselves. So that's where we have to have our faith, a belief that this is all going to turn out for our highest and best, for humanity's highest and best, for all of us. To stay present to this now and ever after. So they really want us to hold this in our hearts, that it's going to be for our best, that this is a process. We're moving through it and we're heading to something better for humanity. All right, so next paragraph, they say, and though you are and have made yourselves into a frame of reference that will change. So this is they're naming it, that we will be experiencing change. Though there are those amongst yourselves who will feel a great change has been laid. And I like this, I actually highlighted this next section. The enterprising substance of your reality will come to your aid. So this is that idea that we're talking about riding the crest of the wave. What they said is that we're being eternally incorporated, right, into the experience of what is. So they're saying the enterprising substance of your reality will come to your aid. So this is that idea that all of the materials that we require to manifest our heart's desire are existing in the now. And they're saying that even if we experience change, not to fear, because we are trying to embody this new way of being on the dharmic path, freed from our karma, living in the now, creating with the enterprising substance. Enterprising substance is like all of the creative energy that's all around us right now, right? That's going to come to our aid because we are calling it. So they say there will be no, and this I think is really reassuring, there will be no interruptive force that condemns you all to the interruption of the good you're here to deliver. In other words, this whatever's coming is not going to pull you off your path. There is no aspiration amongst yourselves that cannot be met by the new forces at play. There's nothing that cannot be done, that cannot be made, that cannot be framed in the new time coming. So they're saying whatever it is that is your heart's desire, that you may feel like you've invested your all into something that now seems impossible because of the way the world is changing. And they're saying, nope, it is still possible. It just will show up differently from how you might have thought. That they're saying that everything you want to do, everything you want to be is still possible. But think of it in terms of the way you want to express yourself. That it might not show up exactly. So in other words, you may have, your heart set on, so say for example, if you had if you or maybe a child or someone you knew was really wanting to get into a particular school, and then something happened where that school doesn't exist, right? It's just as a very extreme example. That school doesn't exist anymore. You'll be like, oh, my plans are crushed. Like I really wanted to be that, that school. Like I wanted that thing. And what they're saying is that, okay, that school might not exist anymore, but your desire to what you would have achieved there, the things that were meaningful, that were important, that would have actually brought you harmony through that experience, you will manifest in a different way. and that what will show up for you will actually be better in the long run. So that is what they're trying to tell us. So they're saying there's no aspiration that cannot be met. There's nothing that cannot be done, nothing that cannot be made, that cannot be framed in the new times coming. So they're saying that we will be able to have a full, complete, and wonderful life. It just might show up in a different way. They go on to say, we say, therefore, announce yourselves into it. And this is our part. So this, the reality of now is ready to rise up and meet us, to help us manifest in this dharmic fashion. But our role is to announce ourselves into it. They say, breathe your word, your will into the powers of the new day and let it come to meet you. So as part of this, we have to start understanding how powerful we are as manifestors in this new reality. As we are raising our frequency, as we are changing, as the world is changing around us, the power of our word intensifies. The power of our will intensifies. And I will tell you the craziest thing that has been happening to me lately, which maybe some of you can relate to, is that I have had a thing where I will have the same weird reference show up in the same day multiple times. And I don't know if it's like I hear it once and then I manifest it again. I'm not quite sure why this is happening, but like one example is on one day, I had two people randomly bring up the movie Back to the Future. One sent me a cute little video that had Back to the Future put in it, and another person just mentioned it in conversation in the same day. And that's a movie from like how long ago? And when was the last time you mentioned the word back, or the movie Back to the Future? Like a long time ago. And I had two in the same day. And then the next day it happened again with another movie. And then the third day it happened, I can't remember what it was. Another circumstance came up where two people did the same thing. Again, totally unrelated. So I'm having things happen in pairs. And this is like 3 days in a row. This has been happening. So is that because I hear it once and I'm thinking about it and I maybe tell somebody about it and then boom, I create it again, right? So very, very bizarre. But look at that. Like I'm looking at that thinking, okay, I'm trying to learn how to work with this energy too. And I'm seeing that I'm creating very, very quickly, very quickly. Like I'm seeing things come back and show up almost immediately. So yeah. So anyway, so they're saying here, breathe your word, your will into the powers of the new day and let it come to meet you. Fear not the interruption of what will come. Fear not the new day. Sense in yourself that your dreams are waylaid. Never fear. They are arriving still, only in a countenance that is differentiated. So they're saying that your dreams will, if you keep putting out that energy, if you keep investing yourself in the new day, in what's coming, and don't fall into the fear, right? Because the fear is not the way. The fear, the path is to be in the heart, to have faith, to keep putting that energy out there, to trust that you're going to be met, right? By the energy that's rising up in front of you, by living in the present moment. And they're saying that your dreams are arriving still, but in a countenance that is differentiated. So I think their choice of word here is very interesting. Different. They didn't say a countenance that is different. A countenance is like the way it looks. The way it looks is different. They didn't use the word different. They used differentiated. And differentiated means to make or become different in the process of growth or development. So they're really trying to say here, it's not just that it's different. It's because we are growing. It's because humanity is growing, that we are changing. That's why it's showing up differently, because the way we had imagined our future in the past is limited. It's not reflecting these beneficial, beautiful energies that we are now able to work with by living in the now, right? That that we are now trying to express in a way that is differentiated, right? That is growth, right? It's different because of our growth, right? Super cool choice of words. Okay. And then here we go. Next paragraph. They say, and Martha's saying, I really have seen so much manifesting. Yeah, me too. And Mary says, not speaking it is an important piece. I think I absolutely agree. Because of this idea of what we are. It's that I breathe your word, your will into the powers of the new day. So same thing. If we are out there saying like, oh, this stinks, I'm so frustrated, nothing I ever try, ever comes to pass. Like if we're saying all that kind of stuff and we are in this new energy of incredible creation and we have like things rippling out, we say it once and it's appearing in 5 places. Wow, we have to be careful what we say. Like we want to be putting out that energy of holding faith, like believing in yourself, believing that you're supported, and letting that ripple out. So they're really saying, breathe your word, your will into the powers of the new day and let it come to meet you. Yeah, so it's really trying to learn how to work with this new dharmic energy. So next paragraph, they say, in the now existence that surrounds yourselves, there is hardship. So here they're talking about the life that we've been in so far has not been so great. So they're saying we should be happy to have it change because what we're in right now is kind of stinky in some ways. They're saying in the now existence that surround yourselves, there is hardship. There is energy of futility and longing. There's a sense of yourselves as always trying, unrequited by the life streaming around yourselves. So this is like, they paint a bold picture here. They're saying that we have been living in an existence where it's been very, very hard to create the things we want to create, right? We've been working against ourselves and our karmic patterns. It's been challenging. And so that idea of being unrequited, which is like not returned in kind, right? Or rewarded. So you put a ton of energy out and nothing comes back. And so that you may have experienced that in a bunch of different ways. You may experience that in your relationships. You may experience that with your children, with your family, with your work, right? It may be in the world in general. You may find that you try to do things, maybe it's just even simple things like trying to sign up for health insurance and you're put on the endless hold loop where you're just stuck there for hours and hours and you're putting all this energy in trying to wait to get service and you never get it, right? And you get disconnected. Like that's exactly this, right? Unrequited by the life streaming around yourself. So it's like you're in the flow, you're in the stream of life and you're like, wait, like come back. Like where is life rising to meet me? And saying that's the energy that has been very common in the way things have been up until now. And they're saying, and we say, in the new beginning, in the times coming, the frame of reference you will bring is one of self having been met in equal power. And that is powerful. So imagine if you put out energy and you receive back equal to that energy. If it's a 1-to-1 equation, imagine what that would feel like. Like that is a pretty powerful expression of what it would be to be on the dharmic path. Right? When there's no obstacle. It is just how much will can you exert, how much energy, how much positivity can you put forward, and when see that return to you. It's kind of an amazing idea. Yeah. And you're saying keep downloading the new Aquarian operating system, replacing the old. Yeah, and this is like a new operating system. And Teresa says, I have things in my Amazon cart for preparedness, and my Alexa keeps telling me 50% off deals on those things. Yep, we are on the brink of things, and it is not a bad idea right now. If there are some things you've been thinking of doing or getting, it's not a bad idea. That like the angels have been very careful to tell us to not go bonkers on being a preparation because they don't want us in the energy of fear. But if there's a few things you feel guided or led to do, then now is a good time to do those things. Yeah, I would think so. And I'm probably going to do a little refresh on stuff that I've bought that, like stuff like I'm vegan, so nuts. I want to make sure I've got a nice little back stock of nuts in case those are harder to get for a little while, So stuff like that. Like don't go bonkers, but if you feel called, then do that. Yeah. For whatever brings you joy, for whatever makes you feel supported. Yeah. Okay. So so then we go on to say, let's see. In the time that remains. So here they're talking about in the time that is left as we are moving up to this culmination time, like as we're moving through it's sort of like these dregs of this difficult energy that we're moving through. So in these times that remain, so in the times that remain, in the sense of yourself as having risen, employ your hearts to mold the world to conform to the ideas you wish to see. So they're telling us, okay, in the meantime, so you guys know what's coming. You guys know where we're heading. So so far they're telling us the things you thought you were creating, you might find that you have some frustration there. Try to stay in your hearts, focus on creating that energy, know that the future is going to rise up to meet you, that it'll show up differently, probably better. And they're saying, but in the time that remains as we're moving through the difficult energies, since you are already rising, they say in the sense of yourself as having risen. So the fact that you are already, you are listening to the angels, you are following their guidance, you are healing yourself, you are moving through your own journey. So you are moving with these energies in advance. And they're saying, so because of that, in the time that remains, employ your hearts to mold the world to conform to the ideas you wish to see. To that idea of keep emanating these concepts of joy, keep emanating the concepts of love. And letting that be put out into the world. They say, have no fear. Be not unsettled. So they do not want us to be radiating fear. The changing times are coming, and change, we feel, fulfills a need within yourselves who go on wanting. And they're reminding us, we wanted this. They're saying it fulfills a need that you had to change, that we, humanity, are ready for this. We wanted this as a collective. So they're saying the changing times are coming, and change fulfills your own need, what we needed, what we want. So they're saying, trust yourselves, trust the journey, trust all of it. Yeah. So they go on to say, there is a vision of your world which can be made, which stems from love and exchange, which stems from a compliance to a vision of yourselves unified. So I think this is interesting. Again, choice of words, compliance, right? Interesting word, because you think of compliance and it's like, I hear the word compliance and I think of like there's a bunch of regulations and you have to do what you're told. But I think they are using the word compliance here as a contrast to the word resistance. And I think it's interesting. So a lot of what they're trying to get us to do as we're trying to move toward our Dharmic path, and you're saying that you were mentioning here, that you're saying totally feeling receiving more than I put out with your soul convergence course. That is super cool, Martha. And I feel like this is a little bit of like what's happening in soul convergence is we're trying to release resistance to all of the things we are constantly trying to push away. And this concept of resistance is one of the things that keeps us on our karmic path, that keeps us locked in our karma, because we, rather than letting things move through us and clearing them and integrating as a soul, we are constantly fighting, trying not to feel the things we don't want to feel, or trying not to be the things we don't want to be. So resistance, I think, is really sort of like the epidemic of karma. And so they're here, I love the word compliance, because compliance is the opposite of resistance, but it includes this very critical piece of choice, that when you comply, it indicates that you choose, that you have free will, that you're not forced, that you're choosing to comply. Compliance is an action. It's an action that you take. It implies acceptance. It implies that you are willing, right? It's a compliance. You're doing it with full knowledge of what you're doing. So it respects our free will, right? So it is releasing resistance, respecting our free will, right? So they're saying there's a vision of your world which can be made, which stems from love and exchange. So that's the idea of that free exchange between two people, balance between two people. Exchange is that equal rhythm of back and forth. Balance, harmony is what we're trying to get to. Exchange is another word for harmony, right? It's equal. And then it stems from love and exchange, which stems from a compliance to the vision of yourselves united, of one mind in the complex iteration of many beings thinking. So this, and they just pack so much in, you guys. But this is that, okay, of one mind, which is the unity, in a complex iteration of many beings thinking. So this is that idea they said a couple messages ago, where they said, okay, yes, you are moving into a new energy, but we want you to take the lessons of separation with you. That we don't want to move so far into unity that we forget that what we've learned, what we've gained by being separate, which is a true understanding of self, of what it is to be apart. And so they're saying that what we're trying to move into is not unity to the level of the Borg, right? We're trying to move into unity of one mind, but with the complex iteration of many beings thinking. So in other words, where we all maintain our concept of self and what we want and what we're trying to create for ourselves, but blended within an acceptance and an understanding of our unity with each other. Yeah. So they say, we herald in this change a joyous celebration and achievement, which condemns, and this is good. They say, okay, it's a joyous celebration and achievement. So this is really saying this is a massive shift in consciousness for us. This is a big shift up in consciousness, a joyous celebration and achievement, which condemns the lives of poverty. So they're saying no more poverty and the ways of trade which prevent your growth. So the lockstep development of things not in your best interest. So think about that. They're saying that it condemns the lives of poverty, the ways of trade which prevent your growth, the lockstep development of things not in your best interest. And lockstep, think about that, things that are locked together, lockstep, this is the way the world has been up until now, is so confined and controlled and scripted. It is in lockstep. There is no movement to dance in a tango right the middle of a lockstep. Lockstep is it is formed, it is this way, and you cannot change it, right? And that's what we've been living in. We've been living in this very regulated society, regulated by our expectations, by our understandings, by the paths to success that we're supposed to take, right? That we have been living in a world that's very much dictated by the powers that be. And it's done in ways that are so subtle that simple things like tax policy, which mold the world around us, which we have no awareness of, but all of a sudden the landscape takes shape in order to take advantage of tax breaks. So it's rippling out through our lives, and all of a sudden the housing that we have available to us is there because of the tax policy that was decided by somebody who was totally unrelated to us, right? And that's the lockstep that we exist in. These are the options that we get to choose from. They're the options that were chosen for us. And so and I think it says the ways of trade which prevent your growth. So it really refers to this idea that so much of our world is dictated by commerce and the exchange of it's the accumulation has been the dominant energy of these last who knows, several hundred years, as we really reach the peak of the expression of the over expression of our masculine energy as humanity. That it has been about this accumulation, about structure and accumulation to the point where it just squeezes us out. And that is, as we're trying to move and turn away from that, right? We're trying to condemn the lives of poverty. No more, right? No more letting people live in poverty, right? And letting go of the ways of trade that really prevent our growth. That doesn't mean letting go of trade altogether. It means letting the energy sift through what we've created and keep the good and get rid of the bad. It's trying to not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, right? It means what prevents our growth. Okay, we don't want that anymore, right? And what are the things that are not in our best interest? And then they say it allows yourselves to play a field more broad and open. And so I like here that they say that it allows us to play a field. That, in other words, they're saying nobody's going to do it for us still. That we're still going to be up to us. Like, it's still up to us to step into the opportunities that are before us to create. That everything still starts with us. But the field we're on, the opportunities are broader. The what we can create is much more varied, is much more responsive to what we do. So it's just easier to create, but it still is up to us. We are the ones still calling the shots. We are still the ones that are designing our lives. Yeah, they say it prevents the powers that be and lets them find a passage onward, not here. So it's really, this is speaking to that the structures will not be able to stay as they are. So that's I'm sure, part of this massive change that we're in the middle of, and that I think is accelerating. Yeah. So, and then you're saying, take the wisdom of separation and use it as we unite. Yes, exactly. It's in the ways of trade that prevent your growth. I think it's referring to the rule of money in our society. We're saying this is changing. Yeah. And he said, I feel like Spirit has me in boot camp prior. And so now the messages from the angels always feel like I've been ahead of the game. That is awesome. Things flow. Everything joyful around me. But it did teach me to welcome the horrors going on as the beginnings of our new world, having the ugly been brought to the light. Yeah. And I think that is the idea, is that they're trying their best to prepare us, right? To help us to anticipate what's coming, or at least to recognize it when it happens, so that we are not thrown into fear. So we don't think of it as like an end. They say it's not an end. It's not an end, right? And then Diane says, I so believe what you say about continually sending out love. I have heard the message. This is all love. Everything else is a distraction. Yes, 100%. Yeah. Super, super cool. So, all right. So let's go down here a little bit further. And they say, where is it? Okay, so the everlasting request that you would herald is to be unified as humanity, to be in peace. So they recognize this is what we all really, really want in our hearts, is to be in peace, to lay down your arms in separation. We say we are not there, not yet. It does wait for you upon the horizon, and more war must be met before it can be acquired. More trespass must be made. More hardship must be worked through. And in the process, the expectations you have of this now may differentiate and become unviable. So here they're saying, like, they know we want peace, and they're saying that that's on the horizon. We can get there, and they've talked about that we are looking at, through this process, the end of war, which is incredible. And they're saying they recognize that is what humanity deeply desires. And they're saying, but we cannot go around, we have to go through. that we have to experience what we are as humanity and what we are individually, right? We're struggling. We are battling the dark and the light inside of each of us. Like we are going through this process of working through our own issues, our own pain, and society is working through, our humanity is working through its pain. So they're saying that we are not there yet. We're not done with it yet. That not yet, it does wait for you. They say, but more war must be met before it can be acquired. So they have said that war would expand. So we are in war. War has been expanding already, but I think it is expanding more. And I think we are on the brink of it expanding more. They say more trespass must be made. More hardship must be worked through. And then they say, and through this process, because of the fact that we're going to be in this process of facing ourselves and humanity facing ourselves and more war on the horizon, they say that expectations you have of this now may differentiate, again, which means change because of growth. So change, you're going to be changed and become unviable, which means that they're not workable. So there may be some things that you are planning on that whatever plans you had will not survive contact with this new time coming. And they say, like I said, they're saying, do not lose faith when that happens. To continue to create, to trust that the energy of the now, by investing in the now, staying in the now, keeping your heart open, that the energy of the now will work with you. And they talk more about that here. They say, we speak not into formation, or we say, speak not into formation your frustration with these new endowments. So don't verbalize like if you get really upset and angry, like it's okay to just be like, darn it, or whatever choice words you like. Like, of course, like you need to express your feelings, but what you don't want to do is to give in to like, nothing ever works out for me, or like, of course that failed because, all of the wounding we have, we do not want to bring that up and speak that into the new reality. Whatever it is that you might come to, the judgments that you would have about yourself, that is what they're trying to caution us against here. Speak not into reality your condemnation of these times. So don't be like, this will stink forever. You don't want to say that. Like you want to be like, this is for my best. This is going to work out for my best favor. So be very conscious. And like I said, it's okay to just, if you have frustration, to express frustration, but do it in a way that is not speaking into reality your condemnation of these times, as they said. You could say, you could be frustrated. You could say, darn, that happened in the past. Like you can be like, I'm really, really angry that happened in the past. So like, just be really careful where you're directing the energy. Yeah. Instead, speak to the north. And I love that they say the north here, because they have said before that the direction, if we were to try to speak to the angels are in the north. Speak to the north. And this is just energies. It doesn't mean that they're only like at the North Pole. It's like east, west. It's kind of a shamanic thing. But they have told us that when we are speaking to them, if we turn to face the north, we are more aligned with their energy. Speak to the north, to the endowment of trust in the Creator, to the sense of yourself as having been made on purpose, and these times which form around you to be a blessing. Know them as a compass guiding you to fulfill a purpose that will deliver humanity to its furthest grace. Right? So speak to the north. So in other words, speak into spirit, speak into your guides, right? Speak out loud to create into your reality, right? Your trust in the Creator, your sense of yourself as having been made on purpose, that there's no accident here, that if this is happening, it's because it's part of your divine plan for this life, right? And these times which form around you, in other words, this potent reality, this now, right? It will be a blessing for you. And know them, the times that are happening, the craziness that might be on the horizon, know it as a compass guiding you to fulfill a purpose that will deliver humanity to its highest grace. So this is what we're trying, our furthest grace. So this is taking us as humanity higher than we've ever been. They go on to say, the time is coming yet faster. You are nearly there. The interruption is begun. So we are already in it. They're saying that the interruption, this concept of like, this interruption is, they're referring to it as an interruption of us, of our life, of what it is that we're trying to create, but it's already begun. They're saying these energies are already at work. And they say the interruption of these times, the inconsequential leanings yet remaining will be brushed aside. So that is how little there is left, is that it's literally like the last scraps of stuff standing in the way of all of these these series of events are just, they're right there. They're like little tiny bits left. And so we are right on top of it, is what they're telling us. And the consequential noise of this effect will pull upon you and your knowingness. So they're just giving, again, reminding us this is like to not be surprised. They're saying it's coming really soon, and it's not be surprised. Yeah, rest assured, all is well. Hold faith. Hold still in your agreement. I love this. Hold still in your agreement to be one who illuminates the world. Hold still in your faith in the divine energy that moves through you. So this is that they say stay in your heart. This is what they mean, right? Hold still in your agreement to be one who illuminates the world. Hold still in your faith in the divine energy that moves through you. Sense in yourself that though change has come, though what moves through you may be different from what was your choosing, it will become what is available, ready, and delivered. And you will find within it a greater balance, and harmony is achievable. So they're saying that it's going to come from the working within the reality, the energies around you, just like we've been talking about. And they said when that happens, if you allow it to manifest in the best way that it can, using the current what's now, not using what your plans, if you're able to let go of your ideas about how it had to be and just let that energy move through you and let it work with the reality, they say it will show up available, ready, delivered, and it will be a greater balance of harmony is achievable. It will be a better outcome for you. And they say, and in this space of loving frequency, all your ills will feel remedied. So whatever you let go of, whatever felt painful to let go of, they say you won't feel that anymore. You will feel like it all worked out for the best, right? So that is what they're telling us, is just trust and be in this flow of this experience. They go on to say, we say blessings upon you and all who are nearing this time of friction and freedom, right? Friction and freedom to the passageway through. So again, referring to the fact that we can't go around it, we have to go through it, but it is freedom. It's friction and freedom, right? View before you a journey of great import for which you are equipped. We bless you. And I think that's really it, is they're saying these times are so significant for humanity. We wanted this change. We're ready for this change. We have what we need. We are equipped, right? It's really important to all of us, and we are equipped. Yeah. And you're saying, let's see here. Sorry. And you're saying, sorry, let me just go back. I feel like Spirit has had me in boot camp. Oh, sorry, we already read that part. Yes, thank you. And you say, thank you for this message of hope. I was feeling a little unsettled at the unfolding of things, feeling much more love and hopeful. Awesome, Linda. I'm so glad. I think that's why, they know, right? It's like they see what's happening in the world, and they're trying very hard to stay with us through this experience and to help guide us and to help remind us, of it's hard. Like when we're surrounded by fear, it's very hard not to. We're human. We're in human bodies. Like human bodies have fear. We just do. And so they know that, and they're just trying to help us as best as they can to remember that we can be aware of that fear and then choose to go back into the heart and stay in the heart space. Yeah. And you're saying, I'm grateful to be here now, to be part of this transformation. No accident. I found you in this message. Thank you, Linda. That is awesome. And Teresa says that the way I'm looking at the death of the innocents is their spirit contracts took them there for the better of us all to bring the changes. So I thank them for their sacrifices because I just can't handle it any other way. And the angels gave us a beautiful message about that right after war broke out. Just recently, it was a couple weeks ago. They talked exactly about that beautiful message, talking about how we are trying to process this energy of exhaustion, to exhaust this energy out of humanity, right? Yeah, absolutely. And there was a beautiful message to those who are suffering in that message. Mary says, I always get so renewed in my resolve to be in the light after listening to these Friday messages. I love this message. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. Me too. I love sharing this with you guys because I feel like we all come away uplifted. I feel like it's just, and it's very hard. We're not meant to do this on our own. We're not meant to try to navigate all this in our own little vacuum. Like we're meant to have each other and to have their help and Yeah, and I know I meant to share this stuff. Like the very first time they came through, when I first started channeling, and they were sharing like this incredibly difficult aspect. They came right out the barrel. They talked about the Earth Rift and the banking crisis. It was just like every time I tuned in, it was like, and here's more terrible stuff, and share it. Go tell everyone. I'm like, no. Like 4 months, I sat on those messages and didn't share them because I don't want to go tell everybody this stuff. And it took me a while to come to terms with it. It took me a while to understand what my role was, that I am not telling you guys stuff that you don't already know, that we all came to this world knowing that this stuff was going to happen, that we signed up to be here. And I am just meant to be a conduit for that hope and that faith and that trust, and to remind us so that we are not surprised. And so I'm so happy and pleased that the messages that they are helping, that they are serving, because that's what they're meant to do. Yeah, I'm very, very happy about that. Sherry says, acknowledge and feel frustration, but don't park there by remembering to drop back into the heart. Yes, totally, Sherry. And I think that's a great way. Yeah, we want to acknowledge it. We don't want to squish down our feelings. We don't want to resist our feelings. Let them come up and recognize them, but don't then make conclusions because of those feelings. Say, I am feeling frustration, and I acknowledge and I honor my frustration because that was really frustrating. But then don't invent a story about how, boy, these things always happen to me because of this wrong thing about me and that wrong thing about me and blah, blah, blah. Like all the stories we create that lock it into our energy, right? We want to not do that. We want to just let the feelings feel and say, yep, I honor my feelings. My feelings are valid. That was really frustrating. It is frustrating to be in a human experience. It's frustrating to invest a bunch of energy in something and have it go away. And then, okay, all right, what's next? Yeah. Hey, Kenny, great to see you. Linda says, wow, so powerful. Yeah. Mike says, thank you. You're very welcome, Mike. He said, I could not do this on my own. Me too, for real. I absolutely agree. Teresa says, definitely helping. Thank you, Maureen. All right, you guys, I'm sending you tons of blessings. If any of you want to join me in Los Angeles, I'll be there on 11/11. There is a link to events on my website. Or you can also find me on Eventbrite for that event. If you happen to be in Los Angeles, I will see you there. Small group. We'll spend 4 hours together, and we'll chat with the angels and hang out and just have some fun. So, all right, you guys, lots of love, and I will see you next Friday live.